Not this, but that. Here's a gender-inclusive tip. When a trans or non-binary person changes their name and asks you to call them something different, instead of telling them how much you love their old name or asking them the story of why they chose their new one, let them know that you're going to update their contact info on your phone and ask if there's anyone they're still using their old name with that you should continue to use their old name with too. Telling them you'll update your contact info signals that you're committed to calling them by their new name, and asking if there's anyone they should use the old name with will make sure that you don't out them to anyone they're not out to. Here's what we're not going to do. We aren't going to let the little amount of increased representation and awareness of non-binary folks work to reduce non-binary people to a third gender. And so I challenge you, when you hear people saying things like, oh, non-binary people are they, thems, gently and kindly speak up and remind them that the point of using the word non-binary is to be expansive and not reductive. How to respond when you misgender someone. I love Demi Lovato, her song. Demi actually uses they, them pronouns. Right, thanks. They're sound confident. Thank the person who corrected you, whether it was someone else or the person you misgendered, rephrase, and move on. Don't make it awkward by over-apologizing or saying how hard it is for you to get it right. Have you ever noticed when you're watching the Great British Bake Off, they refer to the contestants as bakers? So instead of gendering people when we're addressing a big group, we can take the activity and call them by that. If you're a teacher, all of a sudden you have readers and writers instead of boys and girls. This is one way to use gender-inclusive language that includes non-binary folks. No, I don't use the whole pronoun thing. Okay, so how should I refer to you? What do you mean? You know, like what word do you want me to refer to you as? When I introduce you, this is Joan. She likes taking her dogs to the park. He like, well, I'm obviously a woman. She. Okay, so you do use pronouns, yours or she and her. We can't assume gender, so here's how you can refer to people you don't know in public. Hey, Vincent. Yeah, Josh? The person over there at the end of the aisle asked me to help them reach something, but I'm too short to. Oh, okay, yeah, I'll go help them. Things we're going to stop saying to non-binary people. You're not non-binary, you don't use they, them pronouns. Not all non-binary people use they, them pronouns. But you have facial hair. Facial hair and body hair aren't specific to genders. Well, you don't make any sense to me. The person's gender doesn't need to make sense to you in order to respect them. You're just doing this for attention. Please, ask more rude questions. If you misgender someone and they correct you, don't apologize, just thank them quickly and move on.
When I've accidentally misgendered people, my go-to script is always, oh, thank you so much for telling me. And then we just dive back into the conversation. I want people in my life to feel safe to tell me when I mess up.
Include your pronouns in your introductions. Hi, I'm Josh. I use he, him, or they, them pronouns. To meet you, Josh, I'm David. I use they, them pronouns. When you model it for others, they're more likely to do it as well. If they don't share their pronouns, you could always follow up politely in private. But we should never force someone to share their pronouns with us, as there's a variety of reasons why they might not to, including the setting, context, issues of safety, or if they're questioning. Not this, but that. Here's a gender-inclusive tip. Instead of referring to someone's sex at birth as biologically male or biologically female, instead use assigned male at birth or assigned female at birth. The emphasis being here on the word assigned and that it was the doctor who made that decision. And the assignment might align with how the person feels about their gender identity, or it may not. An important distinction because this honors the fact that trans people are who they are.